Hello, we continue to read from Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. And I chose to go back to this book, to this text. One, a lot of my text already packed up, getting out of here, hook or crook. And but a second reason why I want to read this is we want to deal with black women and what happened and what's been their fate and their struggle. So let's continue. At that time, my grandmother was just 50 years old. Laborious years had passed since then. And now my brother and I were slaves to the man who had defrauded her and her money, and tried to defraud her of her freedom. One of my mother's sisters, called Aunt Nancy, was also a slave in his family. She was a kind, good aunt to me, and supplied the place of both housekeeper and waiting maid for her mistress. She was, in fact, at the beginning and the end of everything. Miss Flint, like many Southern women, was totally deficient in energy. Excuse me. She had not strength to superintend her household affairs, but her nerves were so strong that she could sit in her easy chair and see a woman whipped till the blood trickled from every stroke of the lash. She was a member of the church, but partaking of the Lord's Supper did not seem to put her in a Christian frame of mind. If dinner was not served at the exact time on that particular Sunday, she would station herself in the kitchen and wait till it was dished and then spit in all the kettles and pans that had been used for cooking. She did this to prevent the cook and her children from eking out their meager fare with the remains of the gravy and other scrappings. How selfish, man. The slaves could get nothing to eat except what she chose to give them. Provisions were weighed out by the pound and ounce 3 times a day. I can assure you she gave them no chance to eat wheat bread from her flour barrel. She knew how many biscuits and flour and quart of flour would make, and exactly what size they ought to be. Someone was just talking to me the other day about how the people at McDonald's throw away food and they'll fire the workers if they take it. And it's not good food for you, but they work for such low pay, and then you can't even give them food. You rather throw it in the garbage. There's some laws too where restaurants can't feed homeless people, or they won't let you dumpster dive anymore. This place is becoming a hell on earth too, and you see where it comes from. Dr. Flint was an epicure. The cook never sent a dinner to his table without fear of trembling, for if there happened to be a dish not to his liking, he would either order her to be whipped or compel her to eat every mouthful of it in his presence. The poor hungry creature might not have objected to eating it, but she did object to having her master cram it down her throat till she choked. They had a pet dog that was a nuisance in the house. The cook was ordered to make some Indian mush for him. He refused to eat, and when his head was held over it, the froth flowed from his mouth into the basin. He denied a few he died a few minutes after. When Dr. Flint came in, he said the mush had not been well cooked, and that was the reason the animal would not eat it. He sent for the cook and compelled her to eat it. He thought that the woman's stomach was stronger than the dog's, but her suffering afterwards proved that he was mistaken. The poor woman endured many cruelties from her master and mistress. Sometimes she was locked up away from her nursing baby for a whole day and night. When I had been in the family a few weeks, one of the plantation slaves was brought to town by order of his master. It was near night when he arrived, and Dr. Flint ordered him to be taken to the workhouse and tied up to the joust or the joist so that his feet would just escape the ground. In that situation, he was to wait till the doctor had taken his tea. I shall never forget that night. Never before in my life had I heard hundreds of blows fall in succession on a human being. His piteous groans and his "Oh, pray don't, massa" rang in my ear for months afterwards. There were many conjectures as to the cause of this terrible punishment. Some said master accused him of stealing corn. Others said the slave had quarreled with his wife in the presence of the overseer, and had accused his master of being the father of her child. They were both black, and the child was very fair. So, there you go. Traumatic days, traumatic days, traumatic years, traumatic life. So, that's black life. There's a new phrase now called trauma porn, where black people say they're not going to watch traumatic films and television because it's just trauma porn. But if you're not watching that, then you're not watching real life, because black life is trauma. So that tells me that you just want to ignore everything that's real. Um, until next time, I say take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe. And please, I hope the people in Texas are doing better, and I hope that they can survive. And our heart goes out to the people who died, the relatives of the people who died.